Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the good, the bad, and the awesome for Datacron set 27, Armor and Instinct. This is another two-faction set. There's a lot of good stuff in it. It's a lot better than the last blue set, and we do have Focused Datacrons. So it might be a longer video to cover all those Focused Datacrons since we have 7 of them. Just keep in mind, this is a 5v5 set. It'll be available for 2 5v5 seasons and 1 3v3. So let's look at stats to begin with. The stats, honestly, for the last several sets have been very boring. They've all been very similar to each other. Almost all of them have had health and protection. The most recent set, the only thing it really has on this current set is their protection numbers were a lot better. So this is like the level 7 and 8 bumps. So I think health and protection are the most universal value. Any team can make use out of these, whereas armor pen is restricted to physical damage. Crit damage is restricted to teams that are doing damage based on crits, and you know there could be true damage teams, or there could be teams that just don't crit much. The one that's clearly bad is crit chance. Crit chance, I say it all the time. It's a threshold thing. Once you get to 100%, it's diminishing returns. Unless you're facing massive critical avoidance, it's not really going to do too much for you, since most damage dealers that can use Datacrons, since we're gated to Relic 6 now on the end of these Datacrons, most damage dealers at high relics have plenty of crit chance just through all the relic process. I do think crit damage, since it is for special damage and physical damage, is going to be your better damage go-to. You definitely want some high armor pen when you get it, and this set will be around for 2 months after the current best set goes away, so it's a little worth it, a little bit more to be pour into. Tenacity and potency, they're kind of good, but they're just situational. Like, I honestly roll off of them most of the time. But health and protection, crit damage, armor pen, definitely the focus is on stats for this set. For the alignment mechanics, they're again getting kind of stale, following the same playbook. They're playing the hits. They're giving us the ones that we know that they know we like. 25% turn meter starting the battle for light side. 15% max health and max protection. I don't know why they only do this for light side all the time. They had some dark side once in a while, but like it's always the max health, max protection upgrade for light side. That's a ton of health and protection. It's great. This one is also pretty annoying. The 75%, 50%, 25% protection up, or at that threshold of health, you get protection up. So that's just a ton of protection up through the battle, as long as you're hitting each of those thresholds. But this one might be better overall than this, because if you skip a threshold, if you go from like 100% health down to like 20%, you're only going to get the 1 protection up, I'm pretty sure. The worst one, damage by percent health effects. That one sucks. We always see it. This one is okay. This speeds up ults like Leia or Jabba's contract. You can use it, but ultimately you want a ton of turn meter, max health, max protection, and the protection up. And what's great about this is that 60% of the light side crons are really good. So what you do, you level all the way up to 9 if you're trying to get a specific level 9 in faction. Then you worry about re-rolling. If you have, just get a light side cron if it's got a couple good stats on the level 1 and 2. You try to bring that one up. Spend your re-roll mats on the high end on your level 9 stuff, and then come back for the level 3 when you need to, because odds are you're just going to get a good one right away. So light side definitely strong. Dark side, not as strong, but there's a couple good options. So this offensive buffs on basics, crit chance up, crit damage up, offense up, that's really good. And it's any basic. It's an assist, a counter, out of turn, it's fine. So I think that's the biggest one to shoot for. Getting 15% turn meter when you use a special is nice. It's okay. I don't know where it's better than this. Maybe for teams that already have a lot of the offensive buffs anyway. And then these 3 are garbage. Crit chance, 2% crit chance stacking for a limited time. It's horrible. Tiny bit of health and protection recovery. Tiny bit of crit damage. This is recycled. They've used this one over and over so many different times. It's so bad. You have to crit 4 times to get 5% crit damage. Complete big whoop, waste of time. So 3 really bad ones and 2 pretty good ones here. Bad batch. I have this in 2 screens because the awesome one is really long, so just keep that in mind. The only one I think is like okay out of it, other than the really long one, is recovering protection equal to the amount of health recovered. It's okay because Bad Batch is pretty durable, at least like the Omega variant, the new variant. So that could add some annoyance if you're already close to a threshold of not really dying that way. The Retaliate, I don't think that's great because they don't really get crit much, so they're not actually taking a ton of damage, so I don't think that's good for them, although some people will probably disagree with that. This protection recovery, like these just are bad. I'm not going to read them all out because they're just so bad. The awesome one, it has 5 different clauses to it, so right away you know that's pretty useful. It's more for the Omega side, the new Bad Batch, as opposed to OG Bad Batch. When a Bad Batch ally is stealth, so that's both. That's kind of all the time. 20% crit chance and crit damage. And that's no cap. Or no limit. There's no cap on it. There's no limit. So you're going to get a lot of crit chance, crit damage. That's great. Whenever they use an ability on a marked enemy, they get 25% turn meter. When it says an ability, that doesn't mean special ability. That means basic too. So like mass assist on a marked enemy, which they do a lot, 25% turn meter. Very nice. Whenever a Bad Batch ally is captive, Bad Batch allies deal an additional instance of damage to their target enemy on their turn. So what this does is speeds up the rate at which you're going to stand back up. So think of your Bad Batch like a General Skywalker. Instead of having to take turns and recover protection, you need to hit the same enemy and get enough stacks of target practice or remove the captive. So that's going to help get up, and that could actually make them really annoying. It could be like whack-a-mole. You got one down, oh, they're back up. So really good there. Whenever a Bad Batch ally defeats an enemy, they reset their cooldowns, get 25% offense till the end of the encounter. I think of Crosshair with this. So he has a really big hit, and is probably going to kill someone. He's going to get even more offense, make it even easier to kill someone the next time with the same big hit. So that's really good. And whenever a Bad Batch ally assists, they get 25% offense up to 80%, 20% turn meter until the end of the encounter. So this is another example of like poorly written, but I think this is clearly the offense gain is till the end of the encounter. You cannot gain turn meter until the end of the encounter, but I think if you assist, you gain turn meter. So this is a double dip. If it's a mass swarm on a marked enemy, 25% turn meter from using an ability on the marked enemy, and then another 20% turn meter from assisting. So that's really good. That's actually really strong. So look out for Bad Batch this time around. And Imperial Remnant, we have 3 ones that I would describe as good, like decent, but you definitely want to go for the awesome ones. We have this one is awesome and a long one. This one is short and sweet, but any special ability is going to stun the target enemy. Really nice. So that's going to be good no matter what, because it can't be resisted if it are resisted. Really nice. Getting crit avoidance and crit chance when you're crit hurt, when you're crit, 100%, that's good, but actually Imperial Remnant actually specializes in crit avoidance to begin with. Both Archer Gideon has tons of crit avoidance, and Enoch gives out tons of crit avoidance, so it's kind of redundant. This dispel chance is not negligible. That can actually help. It's not going to be my recommended go-to. Getting potency and tenacity is not trivial either. That can really stack up, but still, you want to go for one of the awesome ones. The stuns or the long one. So that's a good heuristic with Datacrons. If it's a really long, wordy one, it's probably the best one. At the start of the battle, all Imperial Remnant allies gain 45% accuracy. It's kind of like a lackluster stat. Potency and 20 speed till the end of the encounter. Yeah, but it's something. Okay, that's nice. Whenever an Imperial Remnant ally uses a special ability, all Imperial Remnant allies gain Alert for 2 turns. Alert is really good. So if you don't remember exactly what it does, it's on Night Trooper's kit. Whenever an ally gains bonus turn meter while not at 100% turn meter, this character gains 10% turn meter. And so that's the small part. And this character uses assists whenever an ally uses a special ability. That is going to be a huge deal. What that is, it makes Imperial Remnant Geonosians, basically. So any special, everyone's assisting. Because that's a condition. You use a special, everyone gains alert. I don't know if that first special that gives alert is going to have them all assist. It depends on the order of operations. I would guess not, but after that, everyone's assisting all the time. So Dark Trooper, Moff Gideon, Enoch, either way, it's going to be really, really good. Whenever an Imperial Remnant ally defeats an enemy, all Imperial Remnant allies gain 40% offense, up to 120% till the end of the encounter. So the first couple are, those are the humps to get over. You're going to get a lot of extra damage. Whenever an Imperial Remnant ally is inflicted with a debuff, they recover 10% health and protection. That's just kind of nice, too. It's kind of like Malgus, recovering health and protection. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with Armor Shred, so that's Moff Gideon, OG Moff Gideon, all Imperial Remnant allies gain 30% crit chance and 30% crit damage till the end of the encounter. This is a really strong one. So even though the Unresistible Stun is nice, this is the one to go for. If you're building I think either if you're building one or building two Imperial Remnant Crons, like a separate one for Enoch in 3v3 and Dark Trooper Moff Gideon 5v5, especially in TW, this is really, really good. Super strong. Like, it's actually going to make Dark Trooper Moff Gideon pretty viable. I don't know about on defense or not, because Radis is usually a pretty hard counter, but look out, they're going to be good. Now to the level 9 abilities, starting with Bad Batch. We got 3 good ones, 1 awesome one, and 1 decent one. Or 1 bad one. The Omega one sucks. She just dispels buffs on herself and recovers health. I mean, I guess maybe it's okay. It's just very lackluster. You already have tenacity up. She doesn't get a ton of debuffs. It's not much. These ones are all pretty decent and useful. Crosshair loses an extra stack of shaking when he loses one, so he's getting down to the point where he actually can hit the broadside of a barn quicker, and he's going to get to that big damage sooner. And with all the damage ramp we have in the level 6, this is going to be nice. Whenever Crosshair doesn't score critically, it inflicts buff immunity for target enemy for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. So I'm guessing that means even when he misses, but I don't know for sure. Whenever he deals damage to an enemy, the weakest ally without stealth recovers 10% health and protection. So he does like multiple hits on his basic, so that's going to be a lot of healing. So that's good. Echo, short and sweet, does a basic. All other allies gain 25% turn meter. I think of this as very nice for, in 5v5, Queen Amidala. So you go a Queen Amidala team with Echo in there, maybe Shock T or Tech, but he's going to really speed up the team. Really, really nice. And then Wrecker, whenever he loses taunt, remove 50% turn meter from all enemies. That's just a decent standard taunt, or taunting tank ability. It's nice. It's just something. It's not like a useless thing to add. The best one, though, and this wouldn't be for, like, the normal Bad Batch team. This is a Mercenary Cron. So, honestly, it's kind of hard to know what to do with it in 3v3, but in 5v5, I would say you put Hunter and Wrecker, like, new Wrecker, with Balin. Because they already have that Soldier of Fortune. There's Soldier of Fortune mechanics baked in. It's at the start of the encounter, Hunter gains 30 speed, and all other mercenary allies gain 10 speed for each mercenary ally. So that's all allies, so that's like 50 speed. So everyone's getting 50 speed, and he's getting plus 80. Till the end of the encounter, until he's defeated. So if he's defeated, that goes away. Hunter's immune to ability block, cooldown increase, and turn meter reduction. If all allies were mercs, marked enemies deal 50% less damage, and he hands out marked like candy. Whenever a marked enemy deals damage to a mercenary ally, so you get hit by a marked person, dispel all debuffs on that mercenary ally and they cover 50% protection. It's nice. Whenever Hunter inflicts marked on an enemy, dispel it and inflict marked on them like a locked mark for 3 turns, which can't be dispelled. So you need to land the initial mark. So he has to pass that potency check, tenacity check, to land the marked, but it's going to get dispelled, have a locked one in. All mercenary allies with Soldier of Fortune are going to assist, which is the whole Balin team. Whenever a mercenary ally takes a turn, the cooldown of this will hurt is reduced by 1. Really strong, but it's for Balin. So it's going to be that, and you're going to have that Bad Batch level 6, but it's just going to be like Hunter and Wrecker, and that's going to be 5v5. So they're going to be getting turn meter, they're going to be getting offense. The captive thing won't really be a thing. If they stealth, they're going to get some crit damage. But it's going to be really nice for that Balin team. I think we had it when they were like brand new. This was like their brand new marquee ability, I think. Definitely good. Now for Imperial Remnant on the level 9s, we have several good options. One you might think is better than it is, but it's still good. So Scout, this one's bad. It's health and protection recovery from a debuff, whatever. Dark Trooper, if he stuns an enemy, he gains 10% crit damage and 5 speed. So normally he doesn't stun. The only way he's probably going to do it, I think, is that level 6. But even that, he's getting crit damage, and his basic doesn't crit. So, and that's his Bane damage dealer. So I wouldn't worry about this one at all. Moff Gideon. This one is good, but it's not game-breaking like it was the last time. So the last time he was like a machine gun, automatic loop, because he was always getting insight. But they've limited it here. So whenever Moff is inflicted with a debuff or gains a buff, so it's a very liberal clause, he gains a stack of insight and stealths for 1 turn. Whenever he gains 4 stacks of insight, he gains 100% turn meter once every 4 turns. So this is where they were able to hedge off the loops people were having last time, because last time it was like he just kept going and going, and like as long as he was going to get buffed or debuffed, he was going to keep taking turns, keep resetting his AoE and do massive damage all the time. But the loop is once every 4 turns. He can reset his, he can get his subversive volley faster, because he's going to be like, maybe every turn he gets to do that, but he's not going to loop his turns. So maybe every turn he's going to do massive damage to all enemies, which is great, but it's not a loop thing. Whenever Imperial Remnant allies inflicted with a debuff, they recover 10% health protection. Very nice. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with armor shred, blind all enemies for 1 turn. So actually, this is a legit option. This is a really good option for a Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team, but there are other options. 2 actually. If you want to put Night Trooper with Imperial Remnant, that's great, but it's also probably best to just put this with Night Sisters, and you don't have a Night Sister. Level 6. But since I was talking about Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, his is the alternative. He gains 15% accuracy and potency for 2 turns. That's not really a big deal. Whenever he gains insight, he gains 20% offense up to 100% and 10% turn meter, and he ignores taunt. So he's going to do a lot more damage. He's going to be getting his turn meter, and that is threatening. Whenever he stuns an enemy on Imperial Remnant allies, gain 30% crit chance of crit damage. That's going to be combined with that stun level 6. Well, he does stun on his own anyway, so that's going to be nice, although it is limited to 2 turns. And then wherever he uses a special, gains 1 stack of insight. So I think actually OG Moff might be better, because you are going to do that massive damage to all enemies on your turn. You're not going to loop your turns, but it's still going to be really strong. So this is probably not as good, even though I placed it later, and that's usually an indicator it's better. But Night Trooper, we've seen this a couple times when Night Trooper was released, and this was a whale cron, and then it came back again. I think it's the same, could be slightly different, but at the start of the battle, he gets 75% potency, 25 speed. Whenever an enemy is afflicted with blight, they get another stack. This is adding up to more damage for him. Whenever an enemy that already had blight is inflicted with another stack, put it on another random enemy that doesn't have it. Whenever they use Scrambling Shot, they gain an additional 3 stacks of blight. Whenever an ally or enemy gains inflicted with blight, Trooper recovers 20% health and gains 25% offense for 2 turns. So that's some offensive generation there. But he's getting a lot of damage from all the blight just from his normal kit. So you're going to just do a lot of damage with Night Trooper. I think you probably keep this with the Great Mothers in 5v5, 3v3 with Enoch. Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, you get a good Imperial Remnant level 6. You have this in 3v3. And then 3v3, you keep the probably OG Moff Gideon. And then in 5v5 for the Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team, I think I'll probably also go for the OG Moff Gideon and keep Night Trooper with Great Mothers. But yeah. So that's all for the standard part of the Datacron set. Next, we'll talk about faction mechanic or focused Datacrons. So this is just the reroll priorities. I think you want to make sure you get the good level 9s you want first, which is only going to be a few. Then you make sure you get your good alignment ability, because it's going to be pretty easy to get. The faction abilities, yeah, you're going to want a couple of them. And actually, if you're making a targeted Datacron for Bad Batch and Imperial Remnant, so those first like 2 that you really want, probably faction level, the faction is your second priority. But overall on the set, you want to get a lot of good alignments, because it's only 2 factions and they're not like huge overlap factions. So you just want to make sure you have a broad base with good level 3s. And the stats, yes, you want to re-roll them. You want to roll away from crit chance. But there's nothing mind-blowing you have to have, and there's not too much that's terrible. So that's why it's the lowest priority for that. And on to Focused Datacrons. And now on to our wonderful 7 Focused Datacrons. It is too many. They need to break them up. But also, I don't, like, does every marquee character need a Focused Datacron? I don't like this. I like the old way it was set up, where currently we have Boba Fett, which is working really well. You know, the Wampacron was great. You had like the Fennec, Boba Fett, Side of Django. All those things are great. Old characters might not be as good, and they actually made them better and really useful. And if we're only ever gonna, because they skipped Focused Datacrons last set, if we're only ever gonna get Focused Datacrons for new marquees, that sucks. Like, that's awful. I really hope they do some of the normal ones, and they shouldn't do a Focused Datacron for every single marquee. Like, they should have like at least 2 of them be part of like the normal Datacron set, because it's just too much. These focused Datacrons are expensive, but the nice thing is most of them are level 9 Datacrons, not level 15, and there's decent stats. So I don't think any of them are bad. So they're either good or awesome. Starting with Luke, I think Luke's is potentially the worst. I don't know how well his team's going to work. The stats are 150% defense, 75% armor pen, and 50% offense. So the nice thing is the cost isn't going up. It's barely more expensive to level up a level 9 focused Datacron than it is to do a normal Datacron to level 9. And most of the time you can just stop on level 8 and get the stats, all the stats out of it. So the defense armor pen offense, it's good, but it's like one of the weaker ones available, which is saying a lot because it's still pretty good. So Luke, at the start of each encounter, Princess Leia gains offense up for 2 turns, and Stormtrooper Han gains defense up for 2 turns. Whenever an enemy is distracted, Princess Leia resets her cooldowns and gains a bonus turn. If an enemy is defeated while distracted, all allies recover 50% health and protection. Tank allies gain 25% offense. Tank allies gain 25% max health stack. So it's like, okay, I don't see how it's going to like make that team super good, but I also haven't seen it in action. And when Leia's got protection recovery from stealthing, Stormtrooper Han removes turn meter from dealing damage. That is nice. And just for a team like this, I'm anticipating it already being on the weaker side. It really needs a lot to bring it up. So for the purpose of Stormtrooper Luke, on my main account, I don't see myself going for it for that. I also don't see myself going for it for the stats necessarily. I might. It just depends. I hope they're all still 2,000 episode currency. Or, yeah, episode currency? It's hard to tell. There's so many different ones. So that one's a little bit on the weaker side. Next, we got IG. So this is going to be... So we have a 5v5 Datacron set. It's going to be available for 2 5v5s. And this is more of a 5v5 Cron set because it's focused... Once you get all the way to IG... because to run on an Afra team, you need 4 to have IG in there, because Afra has to be the leader. From my main account, I'll definitely probably get this one. Crit damage, potency, offense, especially the offensive potency for that team, really good. And I have them, and even outside of 5v5, you're still getting 000 and BT1. So 000, while BT1 is active, he's immune to 000 is immune to dazed stun. Whenever he damages target lock, enemy gains protection up 20%, that's okay. For 2 turns, 25% turn meter, inflicts protection disruption. So that's the best part of the protection disruption. So he's getting a lot of mileage in on his turns. And then BT1, increasing the damage from percent damage health effects like burning. While 000 is active, BT1's immune to ability block and stun. Whenever he damages a target locked enemy, it's protection up. So the same thing. 50% turn meter and resets 000's cooldowns. So as long as there's target lock out there, you're going to be resetting his cooldowns. He's going to be calling him to assist. So that's a nice tag team. So even the 3v3 should be worth something. IG. This is where it really takes off for the team in 5v5, because you have those Afra Omicrons too that are just 5v5. Whenever IG 90 is dealt damage, reflect 50% of the damage back onto the weakest enemy's true damage. Really nice. Which can't be evaded and inflicts target lock for 2 turns, which can't be resisted. This damage can't be enemies, but it's going to weaken them. It's going to serve them up on a platter for BT1. Whenever IG-90 attacks an enemy with target lock, the healthiest enemies inflicted with 2 stacks of damage over time for 2 turns, and that's already increased from BT1. So this is just going to be nice. Afra, I think, will be viable. I don't expect it to like blow anything away, so that's why it's just in the good category, but it's definitely going to be worthwhile for like an endgame account to get. For a small account, if you don't have Afra, I don't think Gotenks will get this. I mean, offense is nice. As a level 8, it's definitely an only, like, it's all damage cron. It's all like offensive stats. Crit damage, offensive potency. It might be worthwhile. It is cheap, so that's something to consider, but it's not on the top of my list. Third from the bottom is the Assaj Cron, another level 9. It's good. It's similar to the Luke one. Very similar, actually, except instead of armor pen, it has potency, and the offense is 80%. So I will take a 30% extra boost of offense over that armor pen. Like, I think that's a lot more valuable, because it's good for special damage dealers and whatnot. And you have Fennec in there. So, like, a lot of people have Fennec, even if they don't have brand new Assaj or brand new Forlom. So Fennec, whenever bounty hunter allies attack out of turn, Fennec gains tenacity up for 1 turn. And she gets extra stats from tenacity up in her kit. So that's nice. Whenever she damages an enemy with armor shred, which she inflicts herself, She deals bonus true damage equal to 3% of their max health to the target enemy. So I would think that means Fennec Shan's. It's unclear if there means the target enemy or Fennec Shan, but it says she and then it says there, so I'm not sure. Max health damage to the target enemy, recovers 5% protection, and dispels buffs from all enemies. I think it probably means all buffs. But that's pretty powerful. Gone are the days, I think, where Fennec is countering Lord Vader, like with clones. But if you're in a lower bracket and you come, like I used to come on my Gotek scale, I used to have to beat Lord Vaders with Fennec all the time. This will really help with that, so that's nice. Forlom, at the start of each encounter, inflict all enemies with a corrupt translation for 2 turns. If an enemy is defeated while they have 3 stacks that can't be revived, and reset the cooldowns of all Bounty Hunter allies. So that's really nice to get all those cooldowns back. Whenever he uses Relative Mercy, each assisting ally, that's his assist, mass assist, I think, deals 10% more damage for each stack of corrupted translation on target enemies. So some extra damage. Whenever a corrupted translation expires on an enemy, inflict 2 stacks of damage over time on them for 2 turns, and all Bounty Hunter allies gain 20% turn meter. So that's going to happen pretty frequently. Like, that might be like a bit of a turn meter loop from that corrupted translation. Or it might be like, character takes a turn, you get a bunch of turns. Another character on the side takes a turn, finally, you get a bunch of turns, because everyone's getting all that 20% turn meter. So that part is really nice. And Assaj, this is kind of a classic ability we see in a lot. Like, whenever they crit, they get a little extra crit damage, defense, penetration, and offense. The holy trio of damage dealing. Offense, crit damage, and defense penetration. And she has an AoE. She double taps on her basic if they're debuffed. So that is going to stack up a lot. And she does good damage. We've seen that for Coliseum. So this is actually going to be really nice. For an endgame account that has all these characters, that has Forlom up and running, that has Assaj, this will actually be pretty good. So it's good for the purpose it's designed for, and also as a Datacron, it is decent. Wookiees, this one I think of as the best Datacron. So if you're, you don't have a ton of episode currency, you don't have a ton of data cache, and you don't have many characters at all, this is the one to go for. 65% defense, 70% crit avoid, and 105% health. I mean, that's awesome. That's the holy trio of survivability. Health, crit avoid, and defense. You're going to take less damage, you're not going to crit very much, and you have a lot more hit points. So, as a Datacron, it's probably one of the best level 9s. I don't know about Barris. I think I've ranked a little bit higher because of one of the abilities it has. Tarful's doesn't make a ton of sense. Whenever another ally attacks during his turn, Tarful and the ally gain 5% accuracy. Oh, good. Accuracy. 5%. Oh, wow. Thank you. So nice. Not that important. These two abilities are decent, though, in tandem. While Clone Wars Chewie has taunt, all Wookiees allies deal true damage. So that's something, that's a whole big undefined term right there. So we know it's true damage. We don't know how much. We don't know what it's based on. It depends how much true damage is. That could be amazing. It could be a dud. It just depends. While Clone Wars Chewie has defense up, all Wookiee allies have a 100% counter chance. So you're going to have countering all the time. Whenever Clone Wars Chewie loses taunt, he gains protection at 15% and reduces the cooldown of all Wookiee allies by 1. So that's actually a really solid ability there for Clone Wars Chewie. Doesn't blow your mind, I don't think, but it makes him viable on that team. In 5v5, I think 3v3 would be still hard to make that team work. Choda, whenever Yoda and Chewie gains Foresight, which happens semi-frequently, they also gain 20% turn meter and protection up. Whenever a non-tank Wookiee ally is critically hit, Wookiee tanks taunt for 1 turn, so that's going to get Clone Wars Chewie taunting a lot more often. So it's kind of like GK, but for Clone Wars Chewie. Like, whenever that's someone's crit, he taunts. Whenever a Wookiee taunts, the weakest ally gains 2 stacks of Bulwark for 1 turn. So that's like tons of extra defense in that buff. So a lot of survivability there. And Tarful turns defense into damage. I think it's been a long time since I've used Tarful. I haven't actually built him on my main account. He's one of the Jedi Cal unlocked characters, but he just hasn't been used. So we'll see. If anything, they'll be viable in 5v5, but I think for the stats, the Kron is worth it on its own. And Inquisitor Barris. So this one I put as awesome, the first level 9 awesome one, because it has the 9th sister ability. Its stats are good too. 50% crit damage, 80% defense, 70% armor pen, and 85% tenacity. But the Ninth Sister Crown, which we only recently had and it went away, is great. So anyone with Inquisitors is going to want this. 3v3, 5v5, put it on your Reaver team, even if you don't use Inquisitor Barris. It's the true damage based on her health. 2% max health for everybody. Everyone's immune to ability block for Inquisitors. Whenever an enemy has 6 stacks of Purge, and Nine Sisters defeated for the first time, she consumes all Purge from an enemy with 6 stacks, recovers max health and protection, and removes 50% from all items. That's just a really great ability. Really good. Second Sister is also, like, it's also decent. Like, in 5v5, there's an argument to actually use her too, because you're getting both of these. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with Purge, Second Sister gains 5% offense and 5% health steal up to 120%, and 10 speed up to 200 for the rest of the encounter. Whenever she defeats an enemy with Purge, she recovers health and protection, and 9 Sister gains Retaliate for 2 turns. That's kind of like a little bit of reflect damage. So typically you don't use Second Sister on your Reva team in 5v5 because she's a single target damage dealer, and 8th Brother's like AoE, and 5th Brother has more supporting clauses, and 7 Sister is a shoe-in. So I don't know. I probably might not necessarily use her. The downside is we don't have an Inquisitor level 6, so it's not going to be as awesome as you might remember from the recent Kron that was Inquisitors. We had a good level 6, we had 9 Sister, but still really good. Really good for the team and great stats. Inquisitor Barris. At the start of each encounter, if 9th and 2nd are allies, so this could be a viable 3v3 team. Whenever Purge is dispelled, all Inquisitor allies gain 5% turn meter. That enemy takes true damage equal to 5% of the max health. Whenever Inquisitor ally has taunt, whenever an enemy targets an ally without taunt, inflict fear on that enemy for 2 turns. So it's punishing people that are attacking at it, like avoiding taunt. And all enemies take true damage equal to 25% of the max health. So that's going to be really useful on offense, because if you're facing a character that avoids taunt, they're kind of stupid. They're not going to like be careful. Like on defense, if you're facing this team, you'll probably work around that and go for 9th Sister first. That could be a viable 3v3 team if you do have Barris built up. In general, I think 9 Sister is definitely just going to be worth on her own for a Reva team, even if you don't care about Inquisitor Barris whatsoever. But this is a pretty good one. Now, the Vader, Duel's End. I think this is awesome, but it's kind of like more restrictive to the team. Well, actually, no, the stats are amazing. 75% health, 9% armor pen, 40% tenacity, 85% crit avoidance, and 85% defense. So the crit avoidance is the big thing that stands out to me, and the health. And you have some armor pen, so it's not only survivability stats. It is a level 15, though, so that's going to be tough. It will work together the best as a team that, like, you want this full team there. Theoretically. I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to be super flexible or not. If Royal Guard's turn, they dispel debuffs on them, so that's nice, just helping the survivability. Tarkin, whenever he damages an enemy, shock him for 2 turns. So, like, he has his AoE and his basic. Shock plays super well into Palpatine and Mara Jade. And it's irresistible. That's going to get Palpatine a lot of turn meter. It's just great. And that adds extra passive damage to enemies when they're shocked. So, more shock, good. Palpatine one is I think it's pointless. It's like revive prevention for Palpatine. Usually he's not the one getting kills. Mara Jade. At the start of each other ally's turn, she gains an additional stack of Loyal Hand. So that's up to the max 20, so she'll just get there faster. Whenever an ally with less than 100% turn meter gains bonus turn meter, they gain 2% crit damage and crit chance and crit damage. I think that means Mara Jade gains that. So extra crit chance and crit damage, although she's not typically the damage dealer either. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with shock, they take damage equal to 5% of their max health. So that's going to be kind of melting through passive like damage, like true damage. Shock is all over the place. She has AoE shock, shock on basic. So you're just going to be melting them, and Palp's unique. 20% max health damage to enemies with shock on their turn. So that's going to be one way of damage. I think Darth Vader Duel's End should be the biggest damage dealer. Whenever an enemy attacks on a turn, he takes a bonus turn. Once per turn. So that's probably the best thing about this for the team. Whenever Vader's Duel's End can't be defeated if Palpatine's alive, Palpatine's not exactly the hardest to kill, though. So that's not that good. At the start of his turn, Vader, if he has less than 25% health, he gains 10% defense, penetration, health steal, and offense for each active ally until the end of his turn. So he's just going to be doing a little bit more when he's weaker, and he has that mechanic where he starts to burn, he has less health. So the biggest thing to me about it is the bonus turns for him. You're going to melt people with shock, and his turns, he's going to make some count, and you have a lot of survivability. So this is actually going to be a pretty viable team, I'd say, in the end game. If you don't have the team at all, you don't have Vader Duel's End ready, you could still make like a OG Palpatine team work. It's going to work better, at least with Palpatine March 8. And you have great stats there too, so pretty solid one. And then last and the best is the Maul Focused Datacron. So of course they're going to have their chosen legendary have a Focused Datacron from this. But what's great about this, you don't need him for this to be useful. So he's in there, but most endgame players have Stranger now. And a lot of people have Starkiller, even if they're not endgame. So this is going to be very valuable to most players in the game. Stats are pretty good. They're spread out, but you also have that 80% crit avoidance. You have 90% tenacity, which is nice. 40% health, which is kind of low. But you have crit damage, arm pen, and offense. Each of them is a little bit of a lower amount. But having all of them, really nice. The crit avoidance is the biggest thing to me. I love that high amount of crit avoidance. So let's just read Stranger and Starkiller first. So Starkiller, whenever an ally uses a special ability on their turn, Starkiller assists dealing 10% more damage. So typically when we see an ability like this, it's that 50% more, which is already crazy with Starkiller because he does so much damage anyway. But just the fact he's assisting all the time, he's going to get to his Star Destroyer really fast. He's going to do a lot of extra damage. Just all good things. Stranger, whenever the Stranger is healed by an ally or attacks out of turn, he gains 5 speed, so that's getting closer to that threshold where he can insta-kill based on speed difference, and just speed in general is great, right? Whenever the Stranger uses his basic ability and damages a stunned or shocked enemy, reduce the cooldown of, was that its name? By 1. So yeah, if we have stun or shock, yeah, you're getting that reduction, and then the Stranger's immune to daze. So it's like, it doesn't blow me away, but it's nice. It's a nice add to an already strong team. Maul. Whenever an enemy takes damage from bleed, Maul gains 2 stacks of Edge of Madness and 5% turn meter. So getting around to that, to his, his power moves faster. If Maul has 50 or more stacks of Edge of Madness, whenever he uses a basic, he inflicts ability block, which can't be resisted. Whenever he gains a stack of Edge of Madness, he also gains 1% max health till the end of the battle at 100 stacks. His basic flicks buff immunity. So it doesn't jump off the page at you, but like he's already really strong, and it's just adding to it. So it's adding ability blocks, adding buff immunity, and adding a lot of max health, and getting some turn meter for him. So like that part doesn't just blow me away. It's just overkill for a little bit. Any extra is overkill for that already good team. Revives from allies can't be prevented. So that's Visas. She's the one reviving. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with daze, shock, or vulnerable, all allies recover 10% health and protection, and the weakest ally gains perfect defense for 2 turns. So that perfect defense, I think, is like 200% defense, and it can't be debuffed. It's probably going to go on Visas, which she probably needs it if you do run her on the team, but if you have someone else, I mean, hey, the better. It has to be a light side Ufu, though. And 3v3, you're not going to have Barris or her. 3v3 would just be Stranger, Starkiller, and Maul, or a third. So for 5v5, which again, it is a 5v5 set, whenever Visas revives an ally, she resets the cooldowns of all other allies. Death Mark, the weakest enemy for 2 turns, can't be resisted. If Maul is an active ally, he takes a bonus turn. So you need a revive to happen, though. So that is going to be a more limited circumstance. If you're on offense, they'd have to kill someone, like one of the harder ones to kill. Like Visas is the easiest to kill. So odds are she'd be the one to die first. If you're on offense, if you're facing this team on defense, you can just choose to kill her first too. So I think that would probably be a good idea. I personally would go for her or Starkiller first, but Stranger's an option. We don't have a ton of experience with Maul. I don't have any experience with it. Well, no one has any experience with him out in the field with his team, so we'll have to see. But the stats are great, the abilities all add up, and I'm going to be scared of this team. So I think this is going to need a pretty strong team to beat it when you set it on defense, and we're going to have to figure that out. But definitely a really strong set, or like few Focused Datacrons. So Maul, Vader, and Barris were the awesome ones to recount. So that's going to about do it for this one. I want to end with just one question. Do you prefer me moving these stats, abilities, and everything to that spreadsheet that I've been showing that has all the Focused Datacrons in the back so you see it in one shot? Or do you like the scrolling up and down on Sway.gg? Because we have all these stats here, we have the abilities, I can open them up, but I just have to scroll a lot and it's not seeing everything in one screen. But if a lot of people are fine with this, I might just do that, save myself some time since I'm going to have to do this every month. But we will probably want to focus Datacrons every month. But yeah, happy to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and see you later. Bye.